Is there more to midlife than just getting through it? Absolutely. Welcome. I'm your host, Debbie Cunningham, jazz artist turned midlife mentor, and I'm here to say to you loud and clear, it's time for your midlife crescendo. Well, hey friends, welcome back to this week's episode of Midlife Crescendo. I know we talked last week about reflections in midlife that can lead you to new possibilities for your future. Well, today we are going to talk about one of the things that happened to me when I did that in my midlife journey that you may find helpful for your own. Beside menopause, we truly start thinking about all the rest of our lives in midlife. We evaluate what is important to us, most especially how we spend our time and our resources and with whom. When I was writing songs for my second CD called A Million Kisses, I was noticing that many couples we knew, even those our age bracket, were struggling in their marriages, not knowing how to connect or drifting apart. After the CD came out, my fans started emailing me saying they were resonating with the lyrics in my new songs that I had written about staying in love, and many of them asked me, would I consider writing a book on the subject? When I said yes to writing the book, I knew I wanted to include perspectives other than my own, so I interviewed couples who had struggled in their marriages but found strategies to help them stay connected in the hard seasons. And my book, Dancing in the Kitchen, was published a few years later. Yes, I said a few years later. It takes a while. This book became part heartwarming stories behind the songs on the CD and part strategies for staying in love, learned from my 37 years of marriage and the couples that are interviewed. What's super exciting now is my audiobook of Dancing in the Kitchen is finally being released next month. And when it does, you'll be able to get it anywhere you normally listen to audiobooks. But if you'd like a free chapter, you can go to debbiecunningham.net/book and get that free chapter and start listening today. We will also notify you the minute the audiobook is available for the public. So today, I'm going to give you an actual sneak peek of the audiobook and chapter 1. Throughout the book, there are lyrics printed of the songs I wrote on my second album and the stories that prompted those songs. So before we start, I want to read you the lyrics of the title song of my album, A Million Kisses. And in the middle, if you listen carefully, you'll hear where I got the title of the book from. I want a million kisses kind of love. The kind that every woman and little girl is dreaming of. That kind of romance doesn't come from one night, but through days and years, happiness and tears, until things work out right. Hand in hand, walking through the rain, or with stars up above. I want a million kisses kind of love. The kind that dances in the kitchen when skies are turning gray. The one that holds you oh so tight when the blues just won't go away. I want a million kisses kind of love. The kind that embraces the seasons real life is made of. That kind of romance still makes me swoon. From the first light of day, seeing your face till shadows are cast by the moon. Hand in hand, walking through the rain or with stars up above. I want a million kisses kind of love. Chapter 1. Dancing in the Kitchen. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Vivian Green. I am convinced that most of us want the kind of love relationship that is described in my song, A Million Kisses. I wrote that song while I was pondering the thought. In fact, I wrote an entire album of songs dedicated to that pondering. What does real love look like over a lifetime? The highs, the lows, the celebration of it all in a committed relationship. What keeps us moving forward, fighting for the love we once knew early on but has grown flat in the hard seasons? We desire love that is joyful and tender, that ignites passion, but also lightheartedness, like a dance when life is good, yet still has strong arms to envelop us when the world comes crashing down. It does not come from a one-night stand or even from mutual attraction, but from commitment and companionship. It grows as we are present to one another in individual moments of everyday living. It flourishes as we are intentional to cultivate our relationship even when skies are gray. Maybe you are thinking you want that too, but really don't know how to get back to that again. There is no one path, but I think we can change the landscape of our marriages if we get serious about moving in that direction. This isn't an all or nothing exercise. This is a journey of trial and error. Consequently, you have to decide to start somewhere so that your course changes its current trajectory. So what do I mean by the phrase dancing in the kitchen? It's not actually about dancing, although it can be. It is about capturing spontaneity and connection with your spouse for a brief moment, counterintuitive to whatever is happening at the time. It is easy to have connection when things are going well in your relationship, but how do we connect when life is stressful and chaotic, or you have grown apart? When we first fall in love, we steal moments together, a peck on the cheek, a quick hug. We purpose to make the gray days less gray for each other. We cultivate these little unexpected moments of kindness and thoughtfulness even when things go wrong. What if we could learn to do that again? Intentionally recapturing the spontaneity of love. I know intentional and spontaneous seem to be opposites, but stay with me. Picture this scenario. You have had a long, stressful day, the sink is filled with dishes, kids need help with homework, you still need to make dinner, and your husband walks through the door after his stressful day. Or you have had a long, stressful day at your office and come home to chaos. You can verbally explode about the frustrations you both have encountered today, or one of you can pull up your favorite song on your smartphone or turn on the radio, grab your spouse, and have a little dance, just for a moment or two. You can say something funny to make your spouse laugh. You can wrap your arms around your spouse for a quick hug and say, "Long day, but so glad you're home." In the morning, you can be the first one up and bring coffee to your spouse, especially if they usually make the coffee. Even if you're at odds with each other, you can choose to be kind. See, counterintuitive. Not what everyone expects. We have a million little things we do when we first get married that override a million little irritations. Somehow, through the busyness of life and the passing of time, they fall away. It's not just about adding more things to your to-do list. It is, however, about getting a fresh perspective on your relationship and how a few tweaks can cultivate connection might begin to transform your marriage. Over the last few years, I have talked to a few couples who feel that there is no hope for their relationship to change, that they are stuck in a lifeless or loveless marriage. So they just go through the motions every day. My heart grieves every time I hear that, because I don't believe God really wants that for us. I do believe we have to make daily choices to honor God in our marriage and seek His help to restore our relationships. I can't promise your marriage will become all you desire, but I can promise that you will change if you seek God first in this. Maybe you have been married 40 years and feel like it is hopeless. What if it isn't? Will change be difficult? Probably. I don't know your situation. I only know that God gives hope and restoration. I expect you are afraid to hope because it might not turn out even if you do try. But if you don't try, how will you know? Some of you are going through very difficult situations. I don't want to make light of that for you. I cannot even begin to know where your journey has taken you. I only know that if you want to change your marriage, God is ready and waiting to help. You just have to ask Him. If you are not where you want to be in your relationship, you don't have to stay there. However, you do realize that if you keep doing what you have always done, nothing is going to change, right? What do you want your relationship to be like? I really want you to think about this next question. What changes would you make in your relationship if you knew your efforts would not fail and the outcome would be a transformation in your marriage? Although instead of thinking about what you would like to change in your spouse, I ask you to consider what kind of marriage relationship you'd like to have and ask God to show you how to begin to get there. What changes are you willing to make in your relationship? Can you start by praying daily for your spouse in your marriage? Can you start by not complaining or reacting to a frustrating situation? Can you start by finding out your spouse's love language and make a concerted effort to love them well? I'll go into more detail on love languages in chapter 14. Do you need to start by setting aside time to talk or do something fun with your spouse? Dating is not a solution to marriage problems, but having fun with your spouse can and will lighten the load you are bearing. It can build a bridge in your communication. It is a connecting point. When relationships are strained by difficult circumstances, you need a connecting point, or you will just move further apart. If you are struggling in your marriage relationship, chances are you are not connecting. Can you pray and ask God to show you where you might start connecting again? God knows where you need to begin, and if you seek His wisdom, He will lead you. He says so in His Word. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. James 1:5-6. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that we can ask God for a new vision for our marriages and then take the steps He lays on our hearts to get there. Remember, baby steps. Your marriage is not going to change overnight. It didn't get to the place it is overnight either. Your relationship is the byproduct of hundreds of daily choices that you and your spouse have made over the years. It is my experience that there will be things that come up in your relationship. There will be disagreements, differing opinions, and more, but we can't let them come between us. That's where we have to get on it already. If there is an issue that causes dissension, then deal with it. Find a way to call a truce. Agree to disagree or get a referee. We've got to learn the win-win instead of win-lose philosophy. Can we both find a way to have the relationship we desire? I really think we have to learn to fight for each other. That includes what we take in through what we listen to, read, and even watch. There is so much coming at us day and night that is destructive. I mean, how many shows on TV and films are about people staying married? There are more affairs and divorce than ever before, and it is all over film and TV. I love a good movie, but my heart breaks every time a great romance is about an affair instead of honoring a married couple in their amazing adventure or triumph. The King's Speech is a great film about Bertie overcoming his problem with stuttering and stepping into his role as king. But did you catch his marriage relationship? I delight that his wife Elizabeth loved him so deeply that she went to bat for him, took a risk, and did the unexpected because that is what it took. Then she embraced her husband every step of the way. Want a heroine? She was there for better or worse and helped him triumph over the difficulty. That relationship fed into such an amazing story. Every great marriage has a triumph somewhere along the way. There are more great marriage romance stories out there. Take note, filmmakers. You just have to look for them. It's not always about the burning desire for the one who got away. How are we supposed to hang in there when everything in the media says marriage is dismal? The ball and chain? Now you have the check with the spouse groan? My husband and I check in with each other out of mutual respect for one another. That's a good thing. My point is that there is plenty in your life to aid in tearing your relationship apart. fill your life with positive affirmation of what you were going after to support your marriage along the way. I actually turned to my friends for their input of movies that support a good marriage relationship. Here are a few examples in no specific order. It's a Wonderful Life. Life is Beautiful. The Notebook. Fireproof. Date Night. Extraordinary. Ramona and Beezus. Father of the Bride. Shadowlands. Breathe. War Room. A Walk to Remember. The Case for Christ. I just recently watched Breathe. What a movie! And what a marriage! It's based on a true story. When this couple's life is drastically altered through disease, the wife champions her husband not only to stay alive, but to also live to the best of his ability. It certainly was not the life either of them had planned. She was heroic in her love of her husband and family. It is truly remarkable what can happen in a marriage when even just one spouse loves well in the midst of really difficult life circumstances. Inspiring. So how do we go the distance with our marriages? There are no easy answers. In the chapters ahead, you will hear our stories of joy and struggle in marriage, and those stories of the many couples that graciously let me into their trials and triumphs too. I am honored that these couples would share their stories with me, some of whom I've known for years and some of whom I met throughout my research. But all of them were willing to be vulnerable for the sake of helping other couples to share their struggles in unexpected seasons of illness, grief, loss, infertility, infidelity, and addiction in their marriages. I think what you will see is that we all have difficulties, sometimes a lifetime of it. But God never said anything in life would be easy. He only said He would be with us through it all. See Matthew 28:20 and John 16:33. I knew what had sustained us during difficult times, but I wanted to see what was working or hadn't worked for others. I spoke with both married and divorced couples to get their perspectives. I compiled all of it into my notes, but a few stories stood out that gave great insight. These couples valued their relationship enough to press through impossible odds to get to longevity. Why? Because they believed in love and in the commitment they made before God and their families, even when life was difficult. Over and over again, there were similar strategies that kept coming up in each interview for those who went through hard circumstances and stayed together. Revisiting commitment, leaning into faith and prayer, learning to communicate, extending forgiveness, cultivating community, practicing gratitude and celebration, and learning how to have fun with your spouse to build connection. Even while pressing through the hard stuff, it is these practices you will see that made all the difference in their journey. My husband and I use them too. Specifically, when life is stressful in our household, one of the things we do is turn to fun to lighten the load. My husband is the one who brings laughter and humor to our relationship and to our family. His humorous is a good balance to my serious, and I am thankful for that. When our children were small and life felt frustrating, we would frequently put on music and have a dance party in the kitchen. Often the trash can became a drum set for our son, and the slickness of the floor became a twirling ground for our daughter. It may seem silly, but it helped. Our emotions became lighter, and the music and silliness bred joy. My husband and I still do that. Sometimes it is loud, fun music, and sometimes it is soft and romantic as we dance around the kitchen floor. I love to dance. It is great exercise, but it is also a point of connection in our relationship. Notice, we don't have to talk. We can laugh together and dance together. You may not dance around your kitchen, but maybe you cook together or garden together. Maybe you volunteer together. Maybe you ride bikes together. You can still do that when life is hard. I realize it is difficult to engage your spouse when you are going through hard seasons in life or your relationship. Habits we have cultivated together can sustain us at these times. Finding connecting points with your spouse is a discipline you need if you want that relationship to last. Again, it doesn't matter what you are doing as long as it is something that connects the two of you. My friend Anita says she and her husband ride a tractor around their property at night and watch the fireflies. Some couples sit on their front porch swing together. These things cultivate a sense of connection between them. All of these stories are about staying connected through hard seasons in order to stay in love instead of allowing those circumstances to pull us apart. That is what Dancing in the Kitchen is truly about, staying connected. I hope you will see that. I hope you resonate with these stories and find ways to use these practices in your own relationship to stay connected in order to stay in love. In the days ahead, whether the music of your life is loud or soft, happy or sad, my deepest prayer is that you will learn to keep dancing in the kitchen for a lifetime. I hope you enjoyed listening to the first chapter of the audiobook, Dancing in the Kitchen. Now you have a better understanding of what the book is about. As a reminder, if you would like an additional chapter called Matters of the Heart, where I share the story of my daughter's unexpected open heart surgery and all we went through as a couple during that season, you can download it at debbiecunningham.net/book. In the coming weeks, we will be highlighting breast health since October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I'm reminding you now, schedule your mammogram or breast thermography appointment. Don't wait. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember, midlife is just a brand new season to find your passion and purpose for your grand finale. Talk next week.